Hello, everyone. Welcome on our Master Match YouTube channel. I'm really delighted because I have opportunity to introduce you Paulo. He's the CEO and the founder of Creative Agency. And today, Paulo is going to tell us what is the most common mistake that business owners make in terms of their branding. Paulo, floor is yours.
Thank you, Asha. Thank you so much. It's a really big pleasure to be here with you today. And that's a really good question you are making. But I think before we start with that, we actually need to discuss two other main concepts that are very important in terms of your brand creation process. And those two concepts are branding and marketing. So businesses in general, business people and CEOs of companies actually do mix these two concepts quite a lot. And I think it's because they're very similar in the sense that they have the same goal, which is to attract your audience. Your goal is to achieve your audience attention and capture them. But in terms of what they really mean and what their purpose is quite different. So if you want to think about it, marketing in a nutshell is when you're putting the right message in front of the right people at the right time of the day or the right time of the week, so that you capture their attention and you pass your message. While branding is something completely different. Branding is something where you try to reach your audience to a more deep and establish a more deep connection. You start sharing their feelings, you understand the way they behave, you talk to them, you try to inspire them and build trust, and then you try to nurture those relationships you establish with your brand. So a good example would be, for example, when you go out, when you yourself as a person, you go out, you put your best clothes, you put your best accessories, you put your best makeup. So your objective is to appeal. That's basically marketing, right? Mm-hmm. But when you talk about branding, it's the people you meet when you go out, the sharing of your feelings, what you like, what you don't like, and your experiences, and building on those experiences. So that's branding, right? So basically, coming back to your question, which was what is the most common mistake business owners make in terms of their brand and in terms of building their brand, that's what we see a lot is that most business owners actually spend more time focusing on their marketing. They spend most of their effort and most of their capital in marketing, and they disregard quite a lot their branding. And it's understandable. I also have made this mistake. I've been in the same position. People want to, they are excited, they want to show their new idea, they want to put a visual element to it, like a logo, a website, and they rush into getting their social media up and running. They want to start making ads so people start noticing them and so on. And then they just finger cross, we are going to make millions out of this idea. And it's not a bad assumption, but they miss one critical step, which is thinking about their brand, thinking about what is their purpose, why they are doing what they are doing, what do they want to achieve with what they are going to do. Like, who is their target audience? Who are the people they are going to be talking to? Are they going to be talking to everyone? Are they going to be talking to just a certain segment of people that have certain characteristics and like certain things? Other thing are, for example, the competition analysis, to understand what is your competition doing, so that you can then see where the gaps in the market are, and you can position your message and the way you speak to this audience in a way that fills this gap in the market, right? So that's one of the things that business owners are doing quite a lot. That is a mistake. And basically, you would be surprised that actually 90% of business actually miss and don't make their proper branding, and they all make this mistake. And then they start thinking, where did they go wrong? Why am I losing money? And why I'm not getting results? And all unfortunately brings frustration, self-doubt, and a lot of crushed dreams, right? Which maybe had the potential to achieve a great business and be a great brand, and people would use it on a daily basis. But that's why we are here. So also another key point, and I think it's important for us to bring it up to the discussion here, is that in the past decades there has been quite a big shift in the market. So in the past, you would feel that the market was it was more business centered, meaning that in the past, people would go to a store, to a shop, or they would communicate with a brand in a certain way. They would have their experience with this brand and business, and they would have their own feedback, but they didn't have the means to communicate this. They could talk with maybe their close friends or their family or the colleagues at work, but they didn't really have a way of expressing their opinion and expressing their feedback. So businesses basically could afford to do whatever they wanted, even if it was in the wrong way or in an incorrect way. They could still afford to keep it, to keep running in that way. And today it's completely different, right? Today, everyone has, with the business, with the technology development, with the rise of social media, people now have this huge power on their hands, which is to be able to, affect the way a business and a brand work. And I say business and brand because, they go together. A brand is it's an asset for a business, and it must be used in a way that it brings value to this business. So people are able to quickly, if they don't have the right experience, or if they don't like something from something they did with a particular brand, they can quickly show that and share that. And the other way is also true, right? If someone goes to a place or buys something online from a particular brand and the services is amazing, they are very pleased, the customer care is excellent, and so on, they're very fast, they're able to communicate that to their friends and even reach the globe. They can easily reach other parts of the globe where they can share their feedback and their experience and make it and give really valuable. So the key point and the connection with what I said before is that brands that actually spend the time to work on the way they communicate to this audience through these platforms, and they know the right message and they are consistent with those messages, they are much better position to establish a good connection with their audience and also get a positive feedback and have and if they build on that, they can reach the level where they actually achieve loyalty from these people. So you have that case with Apple, right? Apple is extremely good at what they do, but they have a legion of followers and people that just love the Apple brand, right? No, it doesn't matter if it is your phone, your laptop, or whatever it is, iPad, whatever. They just follow them because it's Apple and they know the brand and they are loyal to the brand. So the key point is that one, right? At the end of the day, it's worth for the business and for people that are starting their business to take the time, think about their branding, make it structured, make it in a logical way, that they don't try to go for everything, but they try to see what they are and why they do it, and then build on those connections and build their branding, and only then focus on their marketing. So I think that's the key point here.
Thank you so much, Paolo. I see that you are a huge expert in this area. What is the best way we can support you?
So actually, our agency has been slowly growing. We are slowly starting to grow, and I think we are seeing two areas where we're having the bigger challenges. One of them is recruitment. So I think we are looking for someone that can help us, recruit the right people with the right skills, but also help us build a strategy to tackle and approach certain platforms and certain paths where we can easily find the creative and most talented people in our area. And the second one is also because we are growing, is the fact that we want to, since the beginning, we want to build a structure, operational structure within our agency that will, not only allow us to work efficiently and not waste resources, but also we want to be able to quickly scale in case there is such opportunity, and bring more quality to our work and for our clients, obviously. Those would be the main two areas.
I think that we have help available to support you in our community. I wonder how you could help other people in our community.
So basically, me and my creative agency, we are doing what we are doing because we want to basically create, we want to imprint good memories into people's minds, and we want to do that by basically creating and helping our clients to create brands that are memorable through any kind of digital platform or any digital way, being that the logo creation for their brand, being the branding of their brand, website, video content, blogging, all those digital platforms and all those digital means we have on our agency. We want to do that, and we want to make really powerful brands for our clients and then achieve their audiences.
Oh, I think there is a huge demand on this service nowadays. So if you guys would like to receive some help from Paulo, please do not hesitate. Go for our platform MasterMatch Online and submit your request for knowledge. You will be matched with such expert as Paulo, so that you can quickly save time on research on other companies' agency and then move quickly with your project. Thank you again, Paulo, for being with us today.
Thank you so much, Asha. It has been great.
Bye.
Bye-bye.